All right, today we're going to be talking about the top 10 recommended must-have ninjas in Fortnite Save the World. This is not a top 10 list, so they're not in any particular order. I just wanted to point out 10 that you should definitely consider having. If you're a new player just coming back or an old player who's got all these heroes, I feel like this is a good list, so let's just hop right into it, starting with probably the most unsurprising pick, Stoneheart Farrah. She is literally the most popular ninja in the game for a reason. She makes every single bow in the game do better crowd clearing. She works especially well with the vacuum tube bow and the cloudburst bow because their 6 perks with the cloud of steam and the chain lightning pair really well. They activate her perk on top of it. It's a ton of damage in both instances. Stoneheart Farrah. I recommended her in my best bow loadout video. I'll link that down below if you guys want to use her to maximum effectiveness. This is not a loadout showcase, just the hero, but she's amazing. She's really, really amazing. Definitely want to have her. Now, if you're running melees, we're going to be going to the base game section. Yeah, Assassin Sarah is available in regular missions, regular llamas. You can get her as a day 1 player. She gives you a massive melee damage bonus. I use this in the 164 players. That's the highest regular mission you can get outside of endurance, frostnite, and events. She is really, really strong. I don't really need to explain it much. You just attack an enemy and she gives you more damage. It works with every melee in the game. You certainly want to use her in almost every melee loadout where your weapon is doing damage. Now, in an instance where your weapon might want to be triple attack speed, you might want to have a lot of health, you're going to want to head to the historic section, Paleo Luna. She's our queen of melees for a reason. She is not literally the highest DPS ninja in the game in terms of like totally rocking out. If you use totally rocking out, upping your crit rating and damage and melee attack speed, there are other ways to do more damage as a ninja. However, Paleo Luna pairs with Blast in the Past, so your health is really high, you have prehistoric Isa giving you extra armor, and her ability is constantly active, meaning there's no eating away for a totally rocking out, there's no activating battle beat, she's just always ready to go. As long as you have high health and you can swing fast, she is going to be doing the job. Her in the lead and in support is really, really good. And I want to mention something last here, that she is also bugged in a good way. She kind of activates Battle Beat in half the amount of kills. It's a little weird bug, but it's been a thing for many, many years now, so I figured I'd mention it. Basically, if you're running Battle Beat in support, you'll swing faster and activate it quicker, and you'll be happier for it. Just let you know, Paleo Luna is not just great, but she's kind of awesome on top of that. So, super consistent hero. I definitely recommend it. If you want to make a full loadout around Paleo Luna, I got my best ninjas loadout video. I'll link that down below. That's an updated guide as of posting this video. It'll get you set up with a very strong loadout. Now, another amazing ninja is in the road trip section, Whiteout Fiona. She is voucher only and available in certain times of the year, just like Paleo Luna. I'll link the yearly timeline video down below, as I do with every single video, because it's a super good resource in keeping track of when heroes and weapons come back around. But Whiteout Fiona, when she comes back around, is a must grab. She ups the crit rating of swords, axes, and scythes. I'm not going to get too far into how crit rating versus crit chance works, but basically, if you just want to turn off your brain, she makes you crit more. That's all you need to worry about. If you put her in support, that justifies not running a crit rating perk. Look at how my Storm King's Ravager is perked here. Triple attack speed, crit damage. I'm not saying you are expected to have the Ravager, but this is what happens with Whiteout Fiona. Triple attack speed in the lead because Paleo Luna is awesome, and then Whiteout Fiona actually brings this crit chance up over 30-odd%. It's really, really nice, and it makes for a lot of extra damage. This copy is Sunbeam. Technically, Bright Core is better with Paleo Luna in the lead, but it's like 7%, so I don't worry about it too much. I also use that schematic for a lot of different things, so Sunbeam works in that instance. Just wanted to get that out there because I get that comment all the time, and this is geared towards newer players, so I'm just going to throw a lot of information at you, and hopefully, some of it sticks. All right, moving away from melees for a second, we're going to be going to the base game ninjas again with Dragon Scorch. Dragon Scorch, super good. He ups your Dragon Slash range and width and damage, and Dragon Slash is a super strong ability, great for crowd clearing. It's not extremely viable in the super endgame, but it's extremely consistent in ventures, in the early games, if you're running encampments really quickly for like Battle Pass XP or resources in general. He is awesome. Super, super solid hero, even in support. Definitely recommend using him, because if you're just trying to spam abilities, he's a great pick. Now, moving back down to the event heroes, we've got Varsity Hiro. Now, you can flux him year-round, but he's one of the totally rocking out heroes. He activates Fumble, where they have a 7% chance to drop a football. When you walk over it, it'll activate Rock and Riff. Now, you don't even need the team perk of totally rocking out to use this. It just increases your damage and melee attack speed. I use him and Battle Beat in support with my Paleo Luna builds. Yes, I use both for the redundancy, because that Rock and Riff melee attack speed of 32% means that you're swinging faster, and when you're swinging faster with Paleo Luna, you're just doing way more damage. He's really, really good in lots of builds. Not even just ninja loadouts, but any situation where you want to do more damage, he's going to be good. So great hero overall. You don't want to miss out on him. Now, going back to the base game, but on the other side, yeah, in the expansion section, we've got the Storm Zone heroes, Deadly Blade Crash. All those big words means that she is available in regular missions and regular upgrade llamas. This is, again, another day one hero. Basically, when you crit with your melee, she'll apply Snare, slowing enemies down, and Affliction, doing 37% of your damage over the next 3 seconds. It's a lot. It's actually a lot of extra damage. If you put her in the lead, she's actually a viable commander if you're critting fairly often. And if you put her in support, it's just a lot of extra damage to be using. Anytime you're using a totally rocking out melee build, she's great. I highly recommend using her. Super good hero to have in the support perk or in the lead, and you can pick her up any time of the year. Now, this next hero I need to be very, very careful about talking about, because Lynx is every noob's favorite hero. She gives you a massive damage bonus when you use her Kunai Storm ability. If you're not sure what that is, basically Kunai Storm is something a lot of different ninjas have, throws a bunch of daggers on the ground, and she makes you hover for 4 seconds, doing a ton of extra damage. This is extremely popular in the Mythic Storm King fights because she gives you a massive damage bonus on command where you can float safely for a second to do what you need to do. Super good hero for that instance. And because the Mythic Storm King fight is the biggest boss fight in the game, and there are some other assets that make her popular on top of her massive damage bonus. But I need to say that she is not that great for regular missions. I have a whole video where I talked about this and I showcased different loadouts with Lynx, and I used her in regular missions to show that she's not that amazing outside of the Mythic Storm King fight. So I am recommending her as a strong hero when you someday fight the Mythic Storm King, but be aware she's not a solve-all hero that does everything. It's not as amazing as the community seems to think. All right, we're moving on to the base game one more time for Fleetfoot Ken. He is my last recommended pick, honestly. He increases your movement speed by 12.5%. Nothing sexy, just a flat movement speed bonus. It's nothing that amazing. If you're struggling to fill out your loadouts, maybe you're new to the game, you've been following my guides, and you're missing a lot of event heroes, he will improve every loadout in the game. You just move faster. How can you go wrong with that? It's a great hero to have, always one you don't want to really forget about, because you might forget you have him until you want to run quicker, and he's nice to have. Did I say that was my last pick? It was not. I actually have 4 more picks, and I'm putting them all in my number 10 slot because there are some tie breaks. I could not find a 10th ninja that I genuinely think every person should have, so we're going to talk about 4 that are all pretty good. Swordmaster Ken gives you 1-2 punch. This is a C tier farming team perk, I guess. I'll link my farming loadouts video down below where I talk about it at one point for like a minute. That's kind of good, but he also gives you a massive sword damage bonus. The reason I'm talking about him at the very end is because he's mythic. I do not want any of my beginner viewers going out here and spending 255 weeks of legendary flux on this character and a ridiculous amount of manuals. It's not worth it. If you ever see him in an upgrade llama, pretty much upgrade llamas and superhero llamas are the only place you're going to see him, then you can maybe grab him, but other than that, he's just not worth it. Good to have if you have him, not worth going out to get him if you don't. The next hero I want to mention is actually in the historic section again, Jurassic Ken. Jurassic Ken is tricky because he gives you an ability damage bonus when you're using Blast from the Past. Typically, when you're running abilities, you want to be using Happy Holidays. But in the rare instance where you are using that combination, he's actually a really good hero to have. I did this in like Adventure season recently where I was running Blast in the Past because the cooldown was reduced and his constant ability damage bonus was nice to have. And he's not a hero you want to forget about, so I figured I'd mention him. The next hero is in the pirate section for one specific reason. Hybrid is ignorable 99% of the time. He is one of the least interesting heroes in the game, but he specifically increases affliction duration, which specifically is really good in a Sub-Zero Zenith loadout. He's an amazing outlander. I also talked about him in the Best Bows loadout video, which is linked down below as well. Specifically, when you're freezing enemies with Zenith, the affliction can crit, which reactivates his freezing perk. And Hybrid extends that. It's super niche, super specific, but because Sub-Zero Zenith is so popular, I figured I'd mention Hybrid alongside 3 other characters, the last of which being Dire in the Fortnite section. He is, again, very specifically worth it sometimes. He increases your movement speed by 25%, which is only at night. So in normal missions, he's almost useless, but I am recording this during the holiday season where we have Frost Night. Frost Night is permanently nighttime, and that means he's constantly active. That means his team perk is also constantly active, giving you a 48% constant damage bonus and a crazy life leech. It's kind of nice. In specific instances, that can be useful. I think the lab dungeon is also nighttime always, so you can find instances where Dire is really nice to have, much like Fleet. It's not really my top recommended pick, that's why I'm mentioning him very last, but he is there, something you should know about, and he's another mythic, so you're going to have to vouch for him, which I don't recommend doing out of season, but pick him up when he comes around. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. I got a couple of recommended videos here at the end. I would love it if you clicked one of them. I'll see you guys next time, and yeah, thanks for watching. And then